Quinton Simon disappeared from inside his home. Police have named Leilani, his mother, as their main suspect. Meanwhile, police are searching for Quinton in a landfill. Leilani and her mother, Billie Jo, have been seen partying at a local bar.
Reporter Room with Jessica Davies starts now.
Welcome to Reporter Room. My name is Jessica Davies. This case is Casey Anthony 2.0 in my opinion, and I have no doubt that law enforcement is concerned about the same thing, and this is probably why there is a delay in arresting Leilani. If you don't know who Casey Anthony is, she was also out partying and having a great time, and her daughter, Kaylee, was not reported missing until over a month after she supposedly disappeared. Casey blamed her nanny, who she called Zanny, and we see some of this from Billie Jo toward Diana, don't we? So let's dig into this case together. Let's review the timeline and everything we've learned so far so that you guys are armed with the best information, because Quinton deserves justice. Everything I'm about to share with you is my opinion, and opinions are not facts, so please don't send any negativity to anyone. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up so I know you were here, and be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a live stream or a new video. I'm a mother, and I'm sure a lot of you are also moms, and maybe some of you guys are even grandmas. So what happens when you have precious grandbabies and a child that you raised who is not able or willing to care for them? Well, Quinton's grandma, Billie Jo, took him in along with his two siblings to ensure that he did not end up in foster care. And I don't know what Leilani and Quinton's dad were dealing with. I've heard different things, and I'm watching my words here, including DV and some substance issues. So what I do know is that Billie Jo seemed to have loved him enough to bring him and his siblings into her home to care for him, and she even hired a babysitter, and that's Diana, to watch Quinton while she went to work. However, she did leave town, and she left Leilani and her boyfriend, Danny Youngkin, caring for Quinton and his siblings, and this turned out to be a massive mistake. So this family resides in the beautiful city of Savannah, Georgia. Billie Jo is a grandma, and she had Leilani move in with her in an effort to give Leilani a chance to straighten out her life. However, after trying to have Leilani and her live-in boyfriend Danny both under her roof, Billie Jo did go and file a formal eviction notice against Leilani and Danny to have them move out of her home. Apparently, there was a lot of arguing going on in the house because, as you can imagine, having this many people piled into one household would be quite tense. And I don't know about you, but I think it's really weird that Leilani and Danny wouldn't just leave their own home. If your mother was trying to help you and was raising your kids and things were getting stressful, it seems like the decent thing to do would be to move out when requested. So it's unusual that Billie Jo was forced to go file an eviction notice to get her daughter and Danny to move out of her house. Shortly after, Quinton disappeared, and this was initially claimed by Leilani that he wandered away. However, Billie Jo posted on her Facebook that Leilani did it and had no memory of it. Do you buy this? Because I don't. I am going to walk you through who is who, and then we're going to discuss Leilani, Billie Jo, and the protesters outside of their house. So please stay with me. So Billie Jo is married to a guy named Tommy Howell, and Billie Jo has 4 children with multiple fathers, and her eldest son, Nathaniel, is currently in prison serving time. Billie Jo hired a babysitter named Diana, who lived down the street, to care for the 3 children who were living in Billie Jo's home, and Diana took care of the kids inside her own home. So the kids would be dropped off and picked up from Diana's house. And you may have seen this babysitter on YouTube and TikTok because she's done a couple of YouTube creator interviews, including Ziggy, who's going to be a guest on this channel on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Diana reports that the children were often dropped off without diapers and milk, and these are a necessity for children, so put a red flag on this one. Now let's talk about Leilani for a second. Leilani was on probation, but I've not been able to find out exactly what she was on probation for. However, her brother did tell law enforcement that Leilani has a history of stealing and buying things that she's not supposed to be taking. And I'm watching my words here. So Leilani still had custody of one child, her youngest child, who is a little girl named Sky. So Leilani should have left the house peacefully with Danny and Sky, but she didn't. And we also have found out that Billie Jo went to court and requested child support from Leilani, and she won because Leilani couldn't be bothered to show up. So was this a motive? Because this happened right before this baby disappeared. Also, what kind of a daughter refuses to pay her own mother for child support? Why did this even need to go to court? So put another red flag here, reporter room investigators. It's not hard to imagine how much resentment would have been building in this household from Billie Jo, who's trying to raise all of these kids. And remember, she's a grandmother and she's working full time. And Leilani and Daniel obviously felt entitled to just stay there, even though they were being asked to move out. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? On the same day that Leilani received her eviction notice, she posted this bizarre message on her Facebook account. She stated that she wasn't able to even, quote, horseplay with her man and kids without someone coming into the room to assume the worst, end quote. But you know what? It only makes me wonder what was really going on with Leilani and Danny. What about you guys? After winning child support and filing her eviction notice, Billie Jo decided to accept a temporary job out of town that was supposed to last around 3 weeks or so. And as I shared with you earlier, the babysitter Diana stated she generally watches the kids Monday through Friday, and even if Leilani is at home, she still watches the kids. And this makes sense because Leilani did not seem to be able to be trusted with the care of the two children, and this is probably why the state of Georgia granted custody to Billie Jo. So Diana has shared in multiple videos that she had the kids dropped off generally around 5:30 or 6 a.m. and they were supposed to be picked up by 3:30 p.m. But she also said that it was not uncommon for them to stay later, and sometimes she said the kids were being picked up closer to 6 p.m. Diana reportedly last saw Quinton when he was being picked up by Leilani and Danny on October 4th. On October 5th, Diana gets a bizarre text at 5:29 a.m. from Danny telling her that they did not require her babysitting services and that Leilani would be with the kids that day. And Diana shared that this was unusual, as she usually watched the kids whether Leilani was working or not. Danny claims that he woke up and he saw little Quinton in his playpen and went to work. He said the last time he saw Quinton was at 6 a.m. on October 5th. Do you think that Danny really saw Quinton, or do you think Danny knew that something happened to Quinton? As the FBI and police combed through a landfill for the remains of Quinton, his mother, Leilani, and grandmother, Billie Jo, were seen partying and drinking at a local bar, and this has not sat well with protesters. The FBI reportedly got that camera footage. The local bar is called Stingrays, and a staff member at Stingrays told The Independent, quote, "They were here, they drank, they left." And the wait staff described it as a, quote, flirty group who was drinking shots and demanded a waiter's phone number. I'm going to talk about the protesters in a moment some more, so please stay with me. So to be clear, the optics are terrible. We've got Leilani and Billie Jo partying it up at Stingrays, while law enforcement is simultaneously searching the landfill for Quinton. I don't know what they were thinking. The only thing I can think of is maybe Billie Jo wanted to take Leilani out to see if she could find out more information. Maybe she organized this, but I don't know. It could just be, bad parent and bad grandparent. What do you guys think? So people were really getting upset. People in Stingrays were getting upset. The protesters were getting upset. Everybody's getting upset. And we have protesters sitting outside the house holding signs and begging for law enforcement to arrest someone. And we know that the police have told us that Quinton's mom, Leilani, is the only suspect in Quinton's disappearance, and that he has been presumed as being gone. So what do you think about the optics? Subscribe and leave me a comment